Hello, my name is Jimmy and this is the 2022 Mazda CX-3, and this is the last year in Canada where you can get one. It's being discontinued after one single generation. Actually, if you're in the US, you couldn't even get it in 2022. It was killed off at the end of 2021. But hey, it's still here, and I want to tell you all the good things about it and why maybe it's something that you should look into rather than maybe the CX-30 or Mazda 3. But let's dive into it first. Introduced back in 2016 and like I said, killed off for 2022, the CX-3 here is actually not based on the 3 like the Mazda 3 or a CX-30 or anything like that. It's based off the Mazda 2. We actually didn't get the Mazda 2 for a very long time. That was killed off a while back. But the Mazda 2 is available, or I should say was available, as a Yaris. That's right, Toyota actually had a Yaris hatchback, which is a Mazda 2. They just kind of rebadged it as a Toyota Yaris, but it was, 100% a Mazda. And it's what based this, the CX-3. But what I like the most about the CX-3 is, the styling. It's very Mazda-like. It's very Kodo design. The headlights on the front, these jewel-like headlamps, absolutely beautiful. Yes, they are LED, and you get LED fog lamps down below. And the grille's absolutely beautiful and stunning in the center as well. As this is a Canadian spec GT trim, I got some blacked out fender flares. This is gloss black only for the top GT trim. It goes all the way to the front and back with some chrome around the sides. You got LED repeaters on the mirrors and a very cutesy shape here. Then around to the back, we get LED tail lamps. Those are absolutely beautiful and, your typical hatchback design. I love the look of the CX-3, so much so that I actually used to own one. I had the base GX model. I had cork sport springs on it, which lowered it a bit, put some wheels and tires on it to make it a little bit more aggressive. I always loved the CX-3 because of the fender flares it had. It just reminds me of like a car with wide body. There's nothing wrong with the overall styling, but it is small. It is a subcompact. There's not a lot of subcompacts left anymore. This is a true subcompact. In the trunk here, there's not a lot of space. As you can see, a full-size stroller just fits. And a golf bag, it can, but you're squeezing everything in here. It is one of the smaller spaces in its class. I mean, most subcompact these days are getting bigger. I mean, the CX-30 is definitely bigger than this, and the HR-V, it's massive comparing to this. That is the 2023. Even the 2022 model is much bigger than this. But let's head over to the back seats. All right, the back seats of the CX-3. I'm 5'11", and as you can see, I barely fit. I have enough headroom, but just enough. And my knees are right against the front seat that's adjusted to me. If you're shorter, you're gonna have a little bit more space, but taller than 6 foot, you're not gonna be happy back here. But the seats are leather, and you do have a center armrest, which is nice. But that's really it. You don't get like USB charge ports or vents or anything else. That's really it back here. If you are looking to fit child seats, you can. As you can see here, I have my Collect Fünf on the passenger side here. In rearward facing, it does fit within the cabin. However, in front of that seat, if you're like my wife at 5'2", you are gonna fit, but me at 5'11", you're not gonna have a good time up here. And behind the driver's side, a Collect Lane is very, very tight. I did have to move that seat forward. So as a family vehicle, if there's only one child, it's not bad. You can sit up front, your partner can sit behind you, your child to the right, and you can put, a stuffed bear on the passenger side on the front. And that's really it. It's sufficient, but just. Anyways, let's check out the front seats. All right, the front seats. As this is the GT trim, I do have leather seats. If you step down to the GS, even with the luxury pack, you don't get leather, you only get leatherette. So this is the only trim you get full on leather with, and they're actually pretty nice, and they are heated as well. You do get powered seats as well as a powered lumbar support, which isn't super common, and you get 2-position memory, which also isn't very common in this class. In front of me, leather steering wheel, you got all the buttons you need, I like that. And the cluster, it's the older style of Mazda clusters, and it's the same one that was used in the Mazda 3. I really like the big tack in the center. It just looks great. You got your speed readout on the bottom right. There's nothing wrong with this. However, if you get a lower trim, you don't get the big tack. You just get a speedo in the center, which honestly makes more sense. But I do like the big tack in the center. It's a very Porsche-like experience as you're driving along. There is a heads-up display above. I mean, it's one of those plexiglass units. It's not the greatest, but at least you don't have to look too far down for your speed. And I mean, honestly, I've been just looking at the cluster as it's absolutely fine. As for the infotainment system, yes, the screen is a little bit smaller and it's on older Mazda tech, but it works. It does everything that you need. There's CarPlay and it's wireless on this GT trim. There's Android Auto as well, but you just have to plug it in. On lower end trims, well, it's just going to be wired. No wireless options for that, which is fine because there's no Qi wireless charger in here anyways. So, you know, if you're driving along, you want to charge your phone and have CarPlay, you're going to be plugging it in. So that's pretty normal. As for the rest of the cabin, you got soft touch materials where you expect. Steering wheel, the armrest on the sides, and you get a little bit of padding right here on the dash. And that's actually kind of nice. And I love these red accents within the vents. Really, really cool touch. Like I said, it's absolutely fine. It's what you expect. Climate control works well. It is an automatic climate control. And you get cup holders in the center, which are a little bit different than the original 2016 models. They are removable as well, which is kind of nice. And of course, you get the armrest, something you didn't get on those original models. Anyways, let's go for a drive and feel what this little CX-3 can do on the road. All right, on the road with the CX-3. Underneath the hood, it's a 2-liter 4-cylinder. It pumps out a very mighty 148 horsepower and 146 pound-feet of torque. Mated to that is a 6-speed automatic and all-wheel drive on this GT trim. On lesser trims, you can, well, option for all-wheel drive. It comes standard as front-wheel drive. And on the base trim, you can even get a 6-speed manual. So that's actually really, really cool. But all this 148 horsepower, it's not designed for speed. Response is quite good. Like I'm traveling at 50 kilometers per hour right now, and I'm normal mode. If I just punch the accelerator, it accelerates. And it does so quickly. There's no like econ mode or economy mode or fuel saving mode or anything like that. Mazdas don't believe in that. Anytime that you need throttle, it delivers. And that's the best part about all Mazda vehicles. It really is. But like I said, 148 horsepower, it's not the fastest, so don't expect the fastest acceleration. But what the CX-3 can do is be a really good, well, cannon carver. Because in the corners, because it's so light and so agile, it actually feels great. Steering response is good. I mean, it has trailing arm suspension in the back, so ride quality, especially for those in the back, isn't the best, but it's absolutely fine. It's super light and nimble. It just feels great. It's just one of those cheap and cheerful type vehicles, you know? You don't get that too much these days, but the CX-3 is certainly still one of them. In terms of like how it rides, well, because of that torsion beam suspension in the rear seats, I wouldn't say they're the most comfortable. There are better design systems out there. I mean, even the newer CX-30 is quite a bit more comfortable than this, but I wouldn't consider this bad. It's definitely more sporty because it just feels a little bit more tight, but it's nothing to break your back over, say. But that's really it. Overall, the CX-3 is fundamentally, it's kind of flawed, right? It's a Mazda 2 converted as an SUV because that's what people want, but you know, people want a bigger vehicle now. That's why they're killing this off and giving you the CX-30. Something that's bigger, more luxurious, and give you more features. But you're also paying more money. As equipped here, we're looking at 32,000 Canadian dollars. You don't have to get the GT trim. Step down to like the GSL and you're gonna pay less. The base GX trim here in Canada, you're looking at 22,000 Canadian dollars. And that gives you a 6-speed manual. If I was to go back, that's the one I would have went with rather than a 6-speed automatic one. But unfortunately, I didn't really have much choice because my wife, she can drive manual, but she's just not confident in it. So the automatic is the only version I could get. But I miss that CX-3, I really do. It's such a fun little car to drive. My wife calls it the little putt-putt. It's flawed. It's tiny, it's small, but if all you need is for you, your spouse, and one other, like, you know, the three family that we have, the 3-person family, I should say, and we have a dog as well, and she can sit on the front seat. It's absolutely fine. You know, looking back at it now, I've upgraded our CX-3 to the CR-V because I was like, gosh, the stroller doesn't fit, this doesn't fit. I mean, I barely use that big stroller anymore. I only use it to put into vehicles to show you what it can do. Every single time that my family goes out, I use my baby's yo-yo, which is this compact stroller. And this is the one that it's my go-to. Don't need the big stroller anymore. And a lot of times, he's happy to walk. So I barely need it. And I barely need all that extra space. I mean, I don't even really bring a diaper bag out anymore because we know his patterns and everything. And everything is just smooth. There's just less and less to worry about now than there was, you know, when he was a complete newborn. So maybe we could have just stuck with the CX-3, not upgraded to the CR-V that we have. But that's really my problem. In any case, thank you so much for watching this video. Like the video if you do, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see you next time in maybe something a little bit more sporty, maybe something a little bit faster, but maybe not as memorable. Thank you so much. Take care.